discuss VAT final accounts, the unit which is included in the syllabus of advanced accountancy paper first, unit first, week of 3. Okay, I have divided this discussion in two parts. In the first part we will discuss balance sheet, and in the next part, second part, we will discuss profit and loss account of the balance sheet. Okay, let us start. Okay, in the first part we will see some introduction regarding the banking business of the banks, of the acts. Okay, you may know that there is a one principal act, the Banking Regulation Act 1949. This is the main act applicable either partly or fully to various types of banks working in India. Okay, it means it is a principal act, a main act. The provisions of this act are applicable to all types of banks. It may be a nationalized bank, it may be a commercial bank, it may be scheduled bank, it may be cooperative, whatever it may be. For all types of banks, all the provisions of this act is applicable. The main object of the act is to regulate the banking business in India. To regulate, to govern the business, banking business in India is the main objective of this act. The provisions are in addition to the various acts. This is most important point. That the provisions are in addition to the various acts applicable to various types of banks or any other law in force unless otherwise provided. It means the provisions of these acts are in addition to the particular act which are prepared, which are passed for the particular bank or the particular type of the bank. Say for example, nationalized bank. There is separate act for nationalized bank. State Bank of India, there is separate act for State Bank of India. Cooperative bank, there are separate acts for cooperatives. All these acts are applicable to that concerned banks. In addition to this, the Banking Regulation Act is applicable. Okay. Now we will see the definition of bank. Definition of bank consists of the accepting money for lending purpose or investment purpose from the public. Accepting money from the public for lending purpose or investment purpose, and allowing depositors to withdraw money as per their demand, and by way of using various negotiable instruments, that is check, drafts, etc. So bank accepts money from the public, and use it for lending, for advancing the loans, or for investment. But the bank repay the deposits to the depositors as and when they demand or otherwise. Okay, all the depositors have right to withdraw by using checks or drafts or otherwise. Okay, this is the definition of the bank. You know very well. Then we will go for the bank final accounts, which is included in our syllabus. Bank final accounts includes balance sheet and profit and loss account as usual. Bank final account includes balance sheet as well as profit and loss account as usual. The form of balance sheet and form of profit and loss account is given in the third schedule in the section 29 of the Banking Regulation Act. Section 29 in the third schedule of the Act. This section prescribes the form for preparation of balance sheet as well as profit and loss account. The form of the balance sheet is called as Form A, and the form of profit and loss account is called as Form B. Okay, the Act has prescribed. The prescribed form is given. The prescribed form is given for the preparation of balance sheet as well as profit and loss account. Okay, in the section 29 of the third schedule of the Act. Okay, so as Act has prescribed the form, we have no authority to change the form as per our requirement. Okay, the form we have to use as it is. We have to use the form as it is. We cannot make any changes in the form because the form is prescribed in the Act. Okay, the form A is for the balance sheet and form B is for the profit and loss account. The revised format of balance sheet is in vertical form. Vertical form is when we write one by one. First liabilities, then assets one by one. Okay. So income, expenditure, profit and appropriations when we take one by one. Okay. In order, in sequence, that is called as vertical form. Okay. And horizontal form that you studied, debit side and credit side, profit and loss account, and asset side and liability side in the balance sheet. That is called as T form or horizontal form. But now in all banks, vertical form is used for preparation and presentation of final accounts, that is balance sheet and profit and loss account. So we will discuss here the vertical form of balance sheet and vertical form of profit and loss account. In the first part we will discuss only the vertical form of the balance sheet. Okay, I repeat, we have no authority to change the form. We have to use the form as it is. We have to prepare the balance sheet in the given format only. This is the form of the balance sheet. The first part is capital and liabilities. First part is capital and liabilities. Capital, reserve surplus, deposits, borrowings and other liabilities. These are the 5 headings under the capital and liabilities. Okay? Capital, reserve surplus, deposits, borrowings and other liabilities and provisions. These are the 5 headings of capital and liabilities. Okay? And for this purpose, we will prepare schedules 1 to 5. Okay? The next part, second part of the balance sheet is assets. Second part of the balance sheet is assets. Okay? Cash in hand and balance with RBI. Balance with other banks, money at call and short notice. Investments, advances, fixed assets and other assets. These 6 headings are under the assets. Okay? Cash in hand and with RBI, balance with other banks, money at call and short notice. Okay, investment, advances, fixed assets and other assets. These are the 6 headings which comes under the heading assets, broad heading assets. Besides, we have to prepare, we have to give some information, that is contingent liability and bills for collection. Okay, and for this purpose we will prepare schedules also. For each and every heading of the asset we will prepare schedule. Say for example, cash in hand and with RBI, schedule 6. Okay, balance with other banks, schedule number 7, investment 8, advances 9, fixed assets 10 and other assets 11 as well as contingent liability 12. We have no authority to change the number of schedule also. Okay, so we have to take all the items of capital liabilities and assets in this sequence and we have to give schedule numbers from 1 to 12 in this manner only. We cannot change. Even one item is missing, one item is not required. Say for example, there are no investments. There are no investments, not at all. But still we have to write investments and write the schedule number. Okay? We cannot take over. We cannot interchange the numbers. Okay? Clear? All assets, all liabilities we have to record in this manner with number schedule. Same number of schedule. Okay? Schedule first. In the schedule first, we will give details of the capital. Capital means share capital. Okay? In the first schedule, we will give details of the share capital. Share capital, you know, you have studied well. There are 5 types of capital. One is authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, called up capital, and paid up capital. Authorized capital is the maximum amount of share capital, that which is fixed in the article and memorandum of the company. Okay, this is the maximum amount of the share capital. Out of which the amount of capital which is issued for the public, issued to the public, that is issued capital. Out of which that much amount which is subscribed by the public, that is subscribed capital. Out of which the amount of money, the amount of capital which value of shares. Say for example 1000 shares of rupees 100 each. Then we have to write 1000 shares of rupees 100 each. It means we have to mention the number of shares as well as face value of the share. Okay. And in the case of subsidiary capital, called up capital, paid up capital, we have to mention also the called up amount. Called up amount. Okay. In the case of called up and in the case of paid up capital, we have to mention the called up amount. Okay. Here, the main point is that I have not taken here the word total. You have not to make the total. You have to give the details of authorized capital, issued capital, subscribed capital, and called up capital. But the amount should not be considered or should not be taken to the balance sheet. Okay? This is only for the information. This is only for the information. Okay? Only we will consider the paid up amount of capital while preparing the balance sheet. We will take only the amount of paid up share capital to the balance sheet. We will carry the amount of paid up capital only to the balance sheet. Okay? All other four types of capital will be mentioned for the information of the stakeholders. Okay? Is that clear? Here you are not to make the total. Carry only the paid up share capital amount to the balance sheet. Next is second schedule, reserves and surplus. Here we have to present the details of various reserves and the balance of profit and loss account as well as share premium. Okay, so you know the statutory reserve. Every bank has to maintain. Every bank has to maintain the statutory reserve. Okay. So first is the statutory reserve. Opening balance you have to take additions during the year, reductions during the year. The amount added during the year should be added to the opening balance, and from the total, if any amount is utilized, then such amount should be deducted. In the same way, capital reserve, take the opening balance, add additions during the year. If out of this reserve some amount is utilized, then deduct it. In the same way, any other reserve may be there. Take the opening balance. If there is some additions, add it. If the reserve is utilized, some part of the reserve is utilized, then deduct it. Also, in the case of share premium, opening balance, okay. Then additions during the year, share premium created during the year, as well as if there is some reductions, you have to deduct. And finally, you have to take the balance in profit and loss account that you have calculated by preparing profit and loss account. The final balance of profit and loss account will be carried forward to the balance sheet here in this schedule. Okay, I repeat, you have to show here, you have to present here reserves. All types of reserves you have to show here. Okay, it may be statutory reserve, it may be capital reserve, it may be any other revenue reserve, it may be share premium. Okay, and you have to show also the details. What was the opening balance? What is the additions during the year? What the amount of utilization, that is deductions during the year, you have to show for each and every reserve, each and every item. And finally, you have to take here the carried forward balance from profit and loss account. Carried forward balance of the profit and loss account. Okay, profit balance or loss balance, whatever it may be, balance from profit loss account. Okay, this is the second schedule. Third schedule is deposits. You know there are three types of deposits. One is current deposits, saving deposits, and fixed deposits. Okay, current deposits means also called as current accounts or demand deposits. It also includes contingencies. It also includes contingencies. So generally it is termed as current and contingencies. Okay, so current accounts or current deposits or demand deposits, then saving deposits or saving bank deposits or saving accounts, or fixed deposits or term deposits or time deposits, whatever it may be, you have to take here and you have to make total. You have to make total. Okay. In the schedule number 2 also you have to take the total. In the schedule number 3 also you have to take total. You have to make the total and it will be carried to the balance. Okay. Except the schedule number 1. Except the schedule number 1, you have to make the total of each and every schedule, and this total will be carried to the balance sheet. Is that clear? The next schedule is borrowings. Okay, some amount is borrowed by the bank. any other institutions or agencies. Just show the details, how much amount they have borrowed from each type of these activities. Okay, just make the total and carry out this total to the balance sheet. Next schedule is other liabilities and provisions. Capital reserve. This is the capital balances. Okay. Then will deposits and borrowings. Except deposit and borrowings, other all liabilities are clubbed here. Okay. All liabilities except deposits and borrowings. All liabilities. Say for example, bills payables, inter-office adjustments, interest accrued. Okay, interest accrued means credit, interest payable. Okay, interest accrued here it means interest payable. Okay, rebate on bills discounted, provision for taxation, unclaimed dividend, any other liability. Okay, we will see some explanation about the two items. What is inter-office or branch adjustment? There may be some intergoings in the banks, between the banks or among the banks. Okay, one branch may be some amount payable to the other branch may be some amount payable to the one branch, first branch. So there may be some amount payable and receivable in the branches. Amount payables and receivables from the branches. If we calculated the net amount, considering the receivable amount and payable amount, that is called as inter-office adjustments or branch adjustments. One bank, because of checks, because of drafts, because of NEFT and other methods of payments, okay, ways of payments, there may be, it happens that one bank, some amount payable to the other bank, at the same time the other bank is payable to the first bank. It means the amount receivable from other bank at the same time the first bank is payable to the other bank. If we calculate the net amount, considering the receivable amount and payable amount, that is called as inter-office adjustments or branch adjustment. So we have to take into consideration here the net amount. If the amount is credit, then you have to show it. It means when amount payable is more than the amount receivable. Amount payable is more than amount receivable, then you have to record it. That is credit amount. Okay. So you are not to worry because this amount directly you will be given. But for your information, that consider the receivable amount from other banks, payable amount to the other bank, and calculate the net figure. If the payable amount is more, then it is net credit amount. It is to be shown here. And the next is rebate on bills discounted, or you may say unexpired discount. If any bill is discounted or purchased by the bank immediately before the date of year ending, and the period of the bill extended. The period of the bill is such that it goes into the next year. The part of the discount which is related to which belongs to the next year, the part of the discount which belongs to the next year, it is called as rebate on bills discounted, or you may say unexpired discount. Say for example, if there is a bill for 3 months, and it is discounted on 1st March, suppose discount is of rupees 300. And the bill is for 3 months, the discount for 2 months, that is 200, belongs to the next year because the period is up to the March, April and May, up to the end of May, 3 months. Okay, up to the end of May. So 2 months discount is received in advance. That is called as rebate on bills discounted or unexpired discount. Are you clear this? But you are need not to worry. The amount will be directly given in the problem. Just you have to post it here. Is that clear? Other items to do. Next is we will turn to the asset side. Schedule number 6. Cash in hand act with Reserve Bank of India. Okay. Just you have to show the two figures. The cash available in the bank, that is cash in hand in the bank, hard cash, and second the balance with RBI. The the amount deposited by the bank in the RBI account. Okay, that two items you have to show, make the total, carry to the balance sheet. Next is balance with other banks, money at call and short notice. Here also you have to show only the two items, that is balance with other banks. Suppose the bank has deposited some amount in the other bank. The bank has deposited some amount in the other bank, then such amount you have to record here. You have to post here. As well as money at call and short notice. Money at call and short notice means what? When a bank is advanced some loan on the condition that when the bank will call the money, the person who has taken the loan has to repay. The institution, the organization which has taken the loan have to repay. It means when the bank will call the loan, the person who has taken the loan have to repay the loan. The organization which has taken the loan have to repay the loan. Okay, only on call, that is called as money at call. And short notice means when the bank gives short notice, 7 days notice. Short notice means 7 days notice, a week notice to the person who has taken loan from the bank. Who has taken loan from the bank, then such person has to repay this amount within a week. That is short notice. Okay. So money at call and short notice is a way of advancing. Is way of giving loan. Is a way of giving loan. The loan which is repayable either on the call of the bank, or call of 7 days notice. That is called as money at call and short notice. Okay. This amount will be readily available in the problem. This amount will be readily available in the problem. Just you have to take here. Okay. Then next is investments. You know the investments. So just you have to list up all the investments. Just you have to list up all the investments. That is government securities, government approved securities, shares of the companies, debentures of the companies, bonds, gold, or any other investment. Just you have to list up, make the total, and carry total to the balance sheet. Okay, very simple. Here you can interchange the sequence. It is not compulsory. It is not compulsory that you can take any order. These items you can take any order. Okay. Next is advances. The most important schedule. The most important schedule. Okay. Here you have to record 3 items. One is bills purchased and discounted. Second, cash credits, overdrafts and loans, repayment of demand, as well as term loans. Okay. These mentioned you have to mention here. In actual, the advances schedule is prepared in 3 parts. In the first part, the bills purchased and discounted, cash credits, overdrafts and term loans are shown. In the second part, the security of the loans mentioned. It means loans are categorized according to the security, fully secured, partly secured, or unsecured. Okay, in the second part, this total is divided, is classified, categorized in according to the security. It means fully secured loans, partly secured loans, or unsecured loans. That will be mentioned. And in the third part, advances given in India and advances given to the persons who are living abroad. Okay, outside India. Advances given in India and advances given outside India, that is mentioned. But here, for our syllabus, it is sufficient that you have to mention here only the 3 items, that is bills purchased and discounted, cash credits and overdrafts, and term loans. Okay, that you have to make total. But there will be definitely one adjustment. There will be definitely one adjustment of reserve for doubtful debts. Okay, only it is mentioned that reserve for doubtful debts. It is not specifically, if it is not specifically mentioned that reserve for doubtful for term loans or for cash credits or for bills purchased, then generally it is deducted from either term loans or from directly to. You can deduct the reserve for doubtful debts either from the term loans or make a total and deduct the reserve for doubtful debts. It's also okay. If it is mentioned that specifically that you have to make reserve from term loans, then you assets from the turnovers or from the total. Okay? The balance will be carried to the balance sheet. Next is schedule 10, that is fixed assets. Generally there are only two fixed assets. One is building or premises, and second is furniture. Okay? Building or premises and furniture. There are two assets are fixed assets are two only. There may be some other assets, other fixed assets. So all these assets are to be shown after depreciation. All these assets should be recorded after depreciation. So take the opening balance, deduct the depreciation of each asset, and then resulting figure will be taken to the column, amount column, and with the total, this total will be carried forward to the balance sheet. Very simple, as we have done in many problems. Next schedule is schedule number 11, that is other assets. Except the cash in hand, cash with other bank, cash balance with other banks, money and on short notice, then investments, advances, fixed assets, all others, all remaining assets are listed here, are taken here. Okay, it may be silver, inter-office or branch adjustment account, that is debit. When the receivables from other bank is more than payable amount, it is debit balance, net debit balance, that is taken here. Okay, then interest accrued, interest outstanding, debit balance means receivable, interest receivable, interest accrued means interest accrued may be payable, interest accrued may be receivable. If interest accrued is payable, it is shown under the other liabilities and provisions, schedule 5. Okay, and if interest is receivable, it is shown under the heading other assets, schedule 11. Okay, then advance tax, stock of stationery and stamps, any non-banking assets acquired by the bank for satisfaction of the claim, or any such assets, any other assets are recorded in the other assets. Okay, make the total and take it to the balance sheet. Then last schedule is schedule number 10, that is contingent liability. Schedule number 12 is contingent liability. Contingent liability means what? Such liabilities which may turn into actual liability or not. Which may turn into actual liability or not. Means there is no guarantee. There is no fix that the liability will turn into actual liability. It may turn or it may not be. It may turn in or may not be. So such liabilities are called as contingent liability. As the liabilities are contingent liabilities, not actual liabilities, such liabilities are not considered in total. You have seen the balance sheet. The contingent liability is taken after total of the balance sheet, because it is contingent. It is not actual liability, so it is not considered in the balance sheet before total, but it is shown only for the information. Such items for which the bank is contingently liable. Contingently liable means the liability may turn into actual liability or may not be. Okay, these items, claims against the bank are not acknowledged as debt. Some persons, some institutions, some organizations have claimed with the bank that they should pay, but the bank has not accepted their claim. There is a claim, there is a demand, but the bank has not accepted. So claims against the bank not acknowledged as debt. Liability for partly paid shares, remaining amount should be paid. So it is contingent liability. Liability on account of outstanding forward exchange contracts, guarantees given on behalf of constituents, on the behalf of customers. If the customer failed to pay, the bank has to pay. So it is contingent liability. Okay, acceptances, endorsements, and other obligations. These instruments are acceptances, endorsements are generally used in foreign business. Okay, import export. Acceptances on behalf of customers. The bank may accept a bill. The bank may accept a bill on behalf of customers or constituents. Okay, endorsement also. The bank may endorse the bills. So these take place in the case of import export, foreign business. Okay, international business. So all these are payable only in the case when the depositor or when the business person fails to pay. So bank is contingently liable. Okay, so such items are taken here. Other items for which the bank is contingently liable, for which the it means there is no guarantee. It is not fixed that the liability will turn into fixed liability, actual liability. All such items are taken in this schedule. All such items are taken in this schedule. Okay, make the total, carry it to the balance sheet. But again, I repeat that the total of such contingent liabilities are not considered for the total of the balance sheet. It is shown under the total of the balance sheet, after the total of the balance sheet. Okay, is that clear? Thank you very much. But I expect your comments and suggestions. And again, we will meet in the next part tomorrow. Thank you.